going to go to Spain, to Cristina Manzanedo from ODOS, or Fundación ACA Spain. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Excellent to be with all of you today. And thank you for this comparative research, which help us enormously to understand the main barriers to effective legal aid for victims across Europe. I think it's fair to say that the report points out continuous efforts by governments to eliminate human trafficking, but very poor results. First, I have two general comments about the report. First general comment is that I have found it very interesting to learn about barriers in other European countries and see that many of those barriers are shared barriers, which makes me aware of the European dimension of the challenge that brings us together today and the need to collaborate at the European level. And my second general comment is that I think the report is also a powerful advocacy tool, and that I hope that the research is widely distributed and known among bar associations and prosecutors in the countries of the report, as well as the European Commission and the European Parliament. In this sense, I have a question. I would like to ask the RENATE Law Group if any communication and advocacy strategy will follow the report. Now, regarding the contents of the report, regarding legal assistance, the study shows disparities in legal aid for victims of trafficking, but some of them are shared barriers. From a victim-centered approach and from my experience with migrant African women that cross the Mediterranean, this is with my experience is mainly with trafficking at earlier stages of exploitation in Europe. I have chosen 4 topics mentioned in the report for most of the countries. The first one is the detection of potential victims. The issue of who identifies potential victims, who decides, how does the identification process take place, which is the criteria used. I think, as the report rightly says, the statistics are just a shadow of the truth. And as the report also says, identification is key for entitlement to free legal aid. So I fully endorse the recommendation that NGOs are also allowed to identify victims. I think this is very relevant. Second, another issue that I think is very relevant is the importance of legal assistance, not only at the criminal stages, but before. The importance of legal assistance throughout the recovery and the reflection period, and legal assistance not only as potential victims of trafficking, but also as potential asylum seekers, because many victims have indeed an asylum case. Third, the need of trust and the need of time. The report mentions the need that the victims gain some trust in the system, but I would also say that it's also important that the victims establish some relationship of trust with someone from the system, usually NGOs, lawyer, because lack of trust is a barrier to disclosure. The need of trust, and this takes time. And finally, another very relevant issue I would like to highlight is that how can we assure more and more trained and specialized lawyers in trafficking? I think the report gives several clues about how can victims be better served by lawyers. Thanks very much for letting me share these thoughts today, and I look forward to the fruits of this discussion.